Hey everybody, it's Bust, continuing our playthrough of the Path of Champions. Today, we're going to be doing battle with our 0-star Taliyah up against the half-a-star quest, the Swift Scout. And let's take a quick look at our Taliyah before we get started. And so she is freshly unlocked. She has no star powers, is at the base champion level of level 1, but she does get access to a relic due to our legend powers. And so whenever it comes to these expensive champions, I usually like to have them start with something that lets them interact with the board immediately. Ideally, we have the thing that costs like 5 mana and lets you do strikes, but we only have common relics now. So we're going to be giving Taliyah Challenger, so she can at least come down and attack something of her choosing. So that is it. That's all we have. We probably got to set our loadout since she is fresh. Looks like we do. Let's actually go with the Reckoner's Arena, pick up the cat, got to get the fist bump card back, and then get our good emotes going. And so you were wanting this. I knew this was part of the video you were hoping to catch. How do I set my emotes? Well, you got it. You got it right here. Uh-oh. Where's the last echo one? That's our problem. There we are. And perfect. Everything's set up, ready to go. Let's get into battle. I can figure out how to do it. here's the play adventure button. Jeez. Okay. All right, up against Teemo. Tends to be pretty easy. In the previous labs, the problem that you run into with Taliyah is that she just has an abysmally bad deck. It doesn't do anything early. It plays the Rock Bear themes, and so you have to really go out of your way to find early game stuff to do, or at least find some like landmark stuff to do. It's very tough to get Taliyah decks up and running, and so it's a big deck building adventure and trying to make things work and trying to not be hamstrung too much by her deck. But these powers here are all trash. We want something that either lets us cheat on mana or lets us be a little bit more effective in the early game. And so not particularly interested in any of these either. Explosive Entrance isn't a particularly strong Taliyah ability. Here's one, and the created cards cost 1 less, but I think I'm leaning towards gearing up. It's not super strong in our deck since we don't have a ton of card creation. We have imagined possibilities, and that's the extent of it. But I think getting these 2 early game units on board is probably going to be a little bit more powerful than created cards cost 1 less. We'll just have to kind of keep that in mind. Ideally, we'll be able to find something along the way to play to those augment themes a little bit. Okay. So, you got a good unit in the Rock Hopper along with the Shaped Stone. Get ready for battle. Get those armed gearheads on the board. Just immediately bring the heat. You didn't know Taliyah could aggro like that, huh? Oh my gosh, the jury rig kills all of our units. Okay. Pretty close to lethal. We should be able to get the lethal next turn with the second Rock Hopper. So if they play 1 unit, we can hook it into the armed gearhead. But if he puts 2 units on board, we're going to struggle a little bit. All right, it'll take another attack. All right, Rock Bear down. We can go ahead and count it down, so we'll get the Rock Bear ready to attack next turn. Then we should be done with this. Boom Baboon has been bested. Got him. All right, GG. So let's see. Anything out of the spoils, something cheap, something landmarky. Ooh, the Warlord's Horde. That's actually pretty perfect. It's odd having to cast the Warlord's Horde. Not something I'm super used to, but having a turn 1 play in a deck that doesn't have too many is great. This can just sit around for a while, so if we need to blow it up with a Desert Naturalist, we have a decent target. I think this will be a good addition. All right, onto the supports. So, no landmark themes first and foremost, but Riven is a fantastic early game champion. So's Draven, but I think Riven is going to do it a little bit better since she has the 2-drop. We're going to have tough times finding spots where we have the mana to cast Whirling Death to where Riven just gives us good units to put on the board early. And if we can give like quick attacks to some of our challengers, it makes a pretty useful thing as well. With these, I'm going to lean towards the adventure. Maybe we can find a good turret with the Adaptron. It's the problem you have with Taliyah is you don't want to stack a bunch of Taliyahs into your deck, and so champion item chests tend to be pretty weak since it adds more copies of Taliyah. So I'm going to try and avoid the champion chest, move on to the Stinky Wump, and head down the adventure path. Now, as time goes on, you might find yourself wanting to have like 3 and 4 and 5 copies of Taliyah. It's just it's a bit of a rarity when you actually want that many copies of her. It's like the upside to playing Taliyah is that it's pretty tough to like whenever you're trying to build a deck, it can be tough to find the appropriate amount of late game. And with this deck, you just know you have it all the time, right? You know that you're building towards landmarks and building towards Taliyah. You don't have to put a lot of effort into your late game. And then if you get like halfway through the adventure and you're like, oh man, I have to get something expensive in here, my deck just doesn't have enough late game, then you could just add in another copy of Taliyah, and it tends to solve all of your problems. But it's usually more of a problem of managing the early part of your curve as opposed to the later part of your curve. And so so that's what we're trying to do here with the armed gearheads and the like.
I know what I must do.
All right, easy enough battle. He couldn't handle the Riven curve. Oh man, I forgot those reforged fragments work with our armed gearheads. That's a pretty nice addition for us. Perfect. Way much. Well, I guess you can't say it's completely better than Draven since he has spinning axes, but it works pretty good for our needs. All right, any of these turrets good? Trying to skip over all of the expensive ones. I think we could add in an Apex turret, but we don't need that expensive kind of stuff. I'm going to add in the 2-drop tough turrets, and we'll call it a day after those. All right. Onto the unstable politician. You all know how we like to look at this battle. It's not a victory unless you win before they can cast a spell. And so his spells cost 2 additional mana and deal twice as much damage. We like to just come in and try and win before you can even cast a spell. His hand looks capable. Our gearheads are gonna really help pop off. Oh, we should have open attacked, though. Now he has a chance to play a blocker. He doesn't have one, but this Ancient Preparations never does anything on board. So the open attack would have guaranteed some hits.
Stands beneath me and winds behind me.
Right, all right. Are we lethal if we hit the +2 attack this turn?
To serve the greater good. I'm on it.
Let's find out. Not going to actually do any math. We're just going to put all of our units out here and see if we did enough. Oh, are we one short? Failure. Failure. Oh, he's gonna have 6 mana next turn. Is he gonna cast a spell? I'm afraid. I'm afraid.
The past is a burden we must learn to bear.
Oh, he cast a spell. What a failure.
Approach.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't blame it on me. Blame it on the Taliyah deck. All right. Well, we got him at this point. What a failure, though. I'm sorry, guys.
I know what I must do.
All right. So do we want any of these? Legion Drummers, fine, I guess. Just a 2-drop. Had Challenger, not that bad. Into the item chest. Adding in Blade Squires is kind of nice. When I'm summoning advanced 1 on the Ancient Prep, I don't think we need. We'll take the Blade Squires, though. Can mulligan them away and then hopefully pick them up right at the start. Sounds good. When you damage the enemy Nexus, get a bonus. It's not that bad. Otherwise, Brothers Bond is probably the closest thing would be to playing here. I'm just going to go for the power. Probably won't be relevant, but I will add it in. Now it's going to cut the most expensive card out of our deck. Technically, it's probably Hibernating Rock Bear, but we'll get rid of the Desert Naturalists. And on to Teemo. Hope we can do it. Teemo on duty. Okay, so if it costs more than 2, we're going to get rid of it. We should be picking up a 1-drop here as well with that Reforge that we put in. So I'm going to play the Blade Squire. I don't know what Teemo's deal is, but Teemo loves to block on turn 1. And so I assume he's going to jump in front of the Blade Squire. Oh, he didn't do it this time. It feels like the last 3 or 4 times we played against Teemo, he just throws away his Teemo on the first turn. Maybe it's only if he has more copies in his hand. Maybe he was Teemo'd out at this point and couldn't deal any damage. Okay, shut down the pup. He can now hit with Teemo, but his blocks next turn are going to be pretty terrible. We'll get our Reforge down. Play it regardless of what it is. Oh boy, that's a big Blade Squire. I didn't realize such a big boy was going to be turning up. All right, big hits coming in. He takes 5, loses his Teemo. It's looking pretty good. Uh-oh, he's emoting. I got you. I got you, dude. All right, who can we get on board? Looking for Riven, and we'll play this big Blade Squire. Hopefully that's enough to end the game. Looks like a ill-advised attack from the opponent. Oh, we got that flip Teemo, though. Are we going to die? We're going to have to squeeze them butt cheeks, aren't we? Oh, man. We have 30 puff caps and 18 cards. We should be fine, but sometimes Teemo makes you squeeze them. Alright, tick 2. Alright, tick 2. Should be good. Alright, so that should end it. But it's a good start into the Taliyah adventures. Again, the big things you'll run into with Taliyah is she has a lot of bad cards in her deck. Her deck tends to be pretty terrible, and then she's a late game champion. And so you have to both pick up early game cards and you have to pick up interactivity. And so the only real upside to Taliyah is that your late game tends to be set. She is a very strong late game champion. If your deck is really hurting for late game, then you know that, oh, well, I can just add more Taliyahs to my deck and be fairly okay in that sense. But in the big deck building portion of this, you're really looking to both pick up early game plays and pick up some kind of interactivity, because that's all very lacking in her deck. But good start with Taliyah. Hope you enjoyed the video, and that is going to do it for us today. And so hope you maybe enjoyed the video, learned a thing or two along the way, had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.